We are going to be working with this little Zen Spa Razor Pages app. And to start with, you're going to need to create the database. So none of you should have this database on your system uh, except for me. So I'm going to adjust the name. And you are going to have to create it because I have done migrations and it won't work without a database. So go into the Package Manager console. All you should have to do is key in Update Database. And while it is doing that, shouldn't take all that long. This is a little simpler application than the one with the chapter. I do not have a separate area. Everything is just kind of in the main area. I did do a little custom CSS, which you can see in the CSS folder. I have a couple images that are added to the images folder, but it's pretty basic little app, and we're going to go ahead and run it. Some of the commands are not going to work until we make the modifications that I have planned. So here is our little Zen Spa app. So home works. The customer inquiry and service descriptions should not work yet. The pages may or may not display, but we have to make modifications to those. The spa service fees should display, and the CRUD function should work on it. The client contact should display, and so should the privacy section. So we are going to be making some modifications to this app. And the first thing that we are going to be doing is modifying the inquiry form, which is kind of goes with this command. So I'm going to exit out of here. We are going to be modifying the home controller. So let us open up home. And I should point out that we have two models. We have a contact. It's always helpful to quick take a look. Kind of basic. We do have a foreign key, services ID, and then we have services, which is also kind of basic. Not a whole lot going on with our models. In the home controller, we're going to modify the inquiry form, get and post. So we have a get action method and we have a post, and we are going to be modifying them. So what we would like with our form, which we can kind of take a look at down here, is we would like for it to display the empty form during the get kind of phase. And then once they submit, we want to display a little message indicating, that we got their inquiry. And so we're going to add that little message to this view. And so we need to be able to check to see if the form has posted or not. So the tricky little way that we are going to do that is we are going to add a viewBag property. We're going to call it posted. And in the get action method, we are going to set posted to false. And then down here in the post, we are going to set viewbag.posted to true. Okay, so now we're going to know if it's posted or not. Now, the other thing that we need to be able to do over in our view is we not only want to know their name and some kind of a contact email, but we do want to know, what service they're interested in. And so in our services model, we have an ID, we have a service name, and then we have a classification. So the classification are the different types of services. So we want to be able to display kind of a drop down with those classifications right here in our form. So in the controller, in our get action method, we are going to retrieve the services and set this up for a select drop-down list. So we are going to use viewbag and view data here. So we're going to have view data, and in brackets, we're going to call this services ID. And we are going to set this equal to a new select list. And remember, a select list is a special list for a select tag. It creates our options. And so in this particular controller, you'll notice that the context object has an underscore in front, which actually makes it more secure. So we've got underscore context.services. So that is our collection or list. And we're connecting this to the classification in our model. And the text that we want displayed is the actual classification. Okay, and this is a get, so nothing is currently selected, so we don't want that final option. And so we're going to omit it. And these are the changes that we had to make to our controller. So you will note that in addition to the view bag and the view data that we created, in our post at least, it is bringing in the model because when it's submitted, we have that model data, and then it's actually returning the model back to the view. So let's save this. And our next step is going to be to modify that inquiry form. And this is where we are going to check viewbag.posted. So we are going to be adding an if else to this. So what's currently in this view is what we want to do if it has not posted. We want the form to display. So we're going to say if, and we're going to check to see if the view bag posted equals false. Okay, and the curly brace is part of the if. And I'm going to move the closing one all the way to the bottom. So all of this, if it's false, that is what we want it to do. If it's not false, we need an else. Oop. And we'll do our little curly braces. So if it's not false, we want to display a little message. And we'll say welcome at, now we're pulling in the model. So if we want to access a property, we have to use capital M in the model. And we're just going to display their name. namaste, and then we'll do the current day of the week, just for fun. All right, so that'll give us the current day of the week. And then we'll do another little message line here indicating we will be sending you information on our next business day. All right. And you'll note at the top that we are pulling in the contact model. Contact model does include the name. Okay, so we are able then to display the name down here. Now, the only other thing that we want, because we have it already displaying an input box for the name and one for the email, but we do need to add the drop down for the type of service they want, because we don't know what that is. And that is what we created that select list for. So I'm going to actually copy that whole little group for name and paste it right below it because we do need the form group div and we do need a label. And so this is for, and remember, this is connected to contact. So what we're going to do is connect this to the services ID, but the ID is not very user friendly because it's like 1, 2, 3. So we're going to connect it to the ID, but we're actually going to display the classification. So this is going to be connected to the services ID. So I'm going to copy that, paste that here, and paste that here. Okay, and then in the input, this should not be an input. This needs to be a select. So I'm changing it from input to select. And of course, it's not going to like that because I don't have it formatted yet as a select. So let me put the closing select in here. And what I'm missing at this point are all of my options. And this is what is so cool about using a select list. After the ASP4 tag helper, all I need to do is add ASP-items equal, and then in double quotes, at ubag dot services ID. And if we take a look, that is what I called this. And because I created it as a select list, it will take that list and generate all of the options for me. So I'm going to save. And then I'm going to run the app. All right, so we're going to go to customer inquiry. All right, so my services ID is working. Probably don't want 2 salons, though that should have changed. It'll be fixed by the time you guys see it. um, and so I'm going to key in my name here, do a half, and I'm going to submit. Okay, so I submitted, it pulled my name, and basically is displaying the message.